Good evening, good morning to most, good afternoon to others, and good morning. It's morning for me. I am your host, Jason Miles, here for another episode of This is Revolution Podcast. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for taking the time to check us out. If you are a returning listener, subscriber, or one of our very valued patrons, joke's on you. So glad to have you back. I do want to thank all of the guests and all the good people that took time out of their busy schedules to check out the week of shows that we had here on TIR. We kicked off the week discussing how drug cartels are more of a state creation and not an actual top-down criminal organizations. Mac and I gave you our Super Bowl preview for maybe like 10 minutes. And then Thursday, we were joined by Nick Hayes, one of the co-founders of Means TV, and discussed the impetus of wanting to start a leftist, kind of culture-based television channel and the obstacles and challenges that arise when you don't take large donations or advertising dollars. All these shows are up. We have playlists on YouTube in chronological order of all the programs on TIR. We try to make it as easy as possible for you to find. At TIR, we pride ourselves on not churning out disposable content. We try to create programming that is thoughtful, challenging, political, cultural, historical, irreverent, and at times downright chaotic in what we hope is the best way possible. We cover the stories and ideas that matter, not always the ones that trend. We bring you conversations rooted in analysis, solidarity, and an intellectual curiosity. And we do it without selling out or becoming a patron or a paid YouTube subscriber. For as little as $3 a month or a one-time payment of $30 for the year, you can have access to movie nights, champagne rooms, the Crisis Papers, our new weekly newsletter, and you get the satisfaction of knowing that your small donation is a major part of keeping TIR on the air. Now, all that out of the way, let's get to why you guys came here in the first place. Keep your American politics out, Britain.
We coming for you, nigga.
There you go. Trump, as our guest notes in his latest piece for the Telegraph UK, has turned American politics into must-see television. Regardless of what the polls say about Trump's popularity, he absolutely loves the attention, or, as we'd say in pro wrestling, the heat. Trump derangement syndrome is catnip to his ears. Insults don't weaken him, they energize him. Part of Trump's power this time around is simply being at the center of the discussion, even when the conversation is about malfeasance, corruption, or sheer incompetence. The point is that he remains the focal point. Attention is power. Trump understands that better than most anyone in modern politics. According to our guest, that spectacle hasn't stayed confined to the United States. The kayfabe president has become must-see TV across the pond as well, inspiring solidarity protests and political imitation in the United Kingdom. In Ralph Leonard's piece, which you can find linked in the description wherever you are watching or listening, he asked whether there's something almost Shakespearean about the drama. Trump as a Caesar leading the Republic to ruin through his own delusions of grandeur. And if that is the case, who are the tribunus, Cassius and Brutus, meant to save the Republic? Leonard also notes the irony that in 2020, it was the progressive left that was mocked for being America-brained, while today that same coalition has migrated to the British right. Reform UK has taken cues directly from Trumpist populism, importing American culture war politics wholesale into British life. Mayoral candidate Lalia Cunningham recently shared AI-generated slop copied from Trump's own Greenland propaganda, while Tommy Robinson's social media feed reads like a fan account for Trump and ICE, as if he were an active participant in America's internal political struggles. If Trump's influence is now infecting political discourse in the UK, what does that mean for the state of British politics and for a country increasingly consuming American dysfunction as entertainment? We'll dig into that with journalist and friend of the show and more, because Ralph also wrote an interesting piece on Noam Chomsky as well. Please welcome, coming all the way live from across the pond, Ralph Leonard. Ralph,
Hello.
hey.
Yeah. It's always good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's always good to have you, and you are so prolific that sometimes I miss a lot of the things that you write. I happened to catch the American politics thing, and then you were like, "Oh, by the way, Jay, I linked your your show." So shout out to you for doing that, for linking the show. I appreciate that.
No, that's good. Because the phrase "kayfabe president" is a perfect phrase to describe Trump. It fits so well.
Before we even get into Trump, and I hate to almost derail this, but I do think it has some salience. You wrote recently about Noam Chomsky for The Statesman. More emails have leaked, and there's one email in particular where Noam Chomsky kind of tells Jeffrey Epstein, as Jeffrey Epstein is looking for, I guess, Chomsky to console. The whole thing sounds odd, but kind of like, don't worry about the haters, giving them PR advice almost. And people are either hurt by that, or you see people look at Chomsky as some sort of leftist traitor. What I've always found interesting, and I'm sure you've noticed this because I feel like this happens with a younger cohort. Chomsky exists alongside the now late Michael Parenti, and for a lot of young burgeoning leftists, they view these two individuals as kind of warring sides for some reason.
Yeah.
And so even in a lot of the comments that I've seen around the Chomsky emails, a lot of people are like, well, that's why he was the bad guy. And Parenti was the good guy. He was the real quote unquote revolutionary. And I was like, I don't understand what any of this means. I didn't know that public intellectuals were team sports, but here we are. Kind of back to the kayfabe president. I mean, he doesn't come out of nowhere. You people love him for that one reason, because he's the bad guy you seek.
Or saying that that shows a manufacturing consent was just a ripoff of Parenti's Inventing Reality, I think that's called.
Was that what it was? I can't remember the book that he wrote about and they came out around the same time, and like,
yeah.
But can you explain a little bit about what you wrote about Chomsky, and how did you feel about that yourself when you saw those emails?
Because there's two phases. There was the first phase of the emails between Chomsky and Epstein, which also had the photo with Steve Bannon, and that one, it clearly was like, it's a bad look, but I didn't. I guess there was something about that I didn't feel like really. I didn't feel the need to get on my high horse about. It's like, oh, he went for dinners with Epstein back in the day. He met up Steve Bannon, and he wanted to meet Ehud Barak through Epstein because he wanted to find out his side of the story as to why the Camp David negotiations broke down. Because there was no evidence that Chomsky ever participated in any of Epstein's other sordid activities.
Yeah, would you really want that guy around when you're having your weirdo fuck party?
Yeah. It's like someone as ancient as Chomsky.
Yeah. Oh shit! Here comes Pop.
Yeah. So I didn't really, because I don't have this feeling that I've been betrayed by Chomsky, because I kind of got over that sort of thing a long time ago. It was only now the more recent ones where it shows that his relationship with Epstein was more intimate than was initially thought. And it was just the one email that was the one you referred to, where I was like, ooh, that's a bad one. That's a really, really bad one.
Yeah.
And that was the one that I really pointed at through in the piece, and sort of saying that, look, if you know anything about Chomsky's career, he kind of has the thing for being having, as we say, blind spots of judgment, right? Certainly in his political career, and it's not exactly surprising that he would have this attitude towards someone he views as a friend,
Mhm.
who he thinks is being demonized by the vultures, as he says in the email, who's being uh, being targeted, and he probably that email was probably like as a friend, someone who he trusted, as a note of solidarity, saying, you know, oh, I've experienced the same thing too, so
Mhm.
don't give any credence to it. And obviously, because it was in 2019 and the Miami Herald expose in 2018 was already like in the news, so a lot
It was
about
we have to admit one thing about the Miami Herald expose. It was in the
yeah,
news, but it wasn't the big news
yeah,
that people want it to be.
mhm,
People weren't obsessing over it
mhm,
until another story happened and he gets arrested again. Like the Miami
yeah,
Herald story, there was a couple stories from the Miami Herald about Jeffrey Epstein, and it took a
that,
while for that to
yeah,
really
that's what
gain
started it.
some ground. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is what started it, but it took a while for that to
mhm,
really catch on in the American zeitgeist.
mhm,
So go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. And I was just saying that Chomsky has a habit, if you know his career, of being very stupidly be defensive on or choosing not to see certain things if it kind of destabilizes a particular view he has taken.
Mhm.
And also, and I use the Cambodia example or the Bosnia example and with Syria in the sense that um like with Cambodia, obviously there's a view that says he denied the genocide, which isn't quite right, because it was more like as the Pol Pot genocide was taking place at the time, he wrote a piece with, I think, Ed Herman,
Mhm.
saying that, look, let's be skeptical about it. There's killings, but is it as bad as what they're saying it is? There's a lot of this kind of reeks a little bit of atrocity propaganda. And then when the real depth of what was going on in Cambodia really became obvious, and it was much worse than it initially thought, he
Mhm.
kind of sort of said, well, at the time I wrote the piece, I was still right. And he kind of never kind of admitted that he was wrong. Right. Yeah, he never kind of conceded, yeah, I got that wrong and I'm going to adjust it, right?
Mhm.
So that's why people call Chomsky a denier, right? Even though it's not quite right, but you see why it was got said.
Mhm.
And I always say, like, and I said in the piece, like, it would be very easy to take that Epstein email and just you could say, commit character assassination on Chomsky, or say things that are kind of not true, like, oh, Chomsky's complicit in pedophilia when there's no evidence that he was, or that oh, this proves that he's really a wimpish liberal after all, or or Zionist, and that sort of thing. It would be very easy to kind of jump on it, pounce on this stuff to kind of confirm preconceived narratives about Chomsky that you may,
Mhm.
or previous disagreements you have with Chomsky on this stuff. And it's like I'm trying to, I suppose, take a different tact. Like, it's more about intellectual surgery than, like, just bashing Chomsky per se, even though
Yeah.
that is very tempting to do. Right.
Well, it's very easy to do. He's also he's not uh, deceased, but he's in a state of kind of incapacitation at the moment, so
Mhm.
he can't
Yeah.
really defend himself. So
Mhm.
we're also looking at these emails through a certain lens of a man that's
Mhm.
quite old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And also, his wife was also corresponding with Epstein as well.
yes, and there's actually theories around if she was the one returning those emails
Hmm.
um, in his name. So
Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of, because it's with part of the problem with the whole Epstein files thing is that because there was such a large dump, like there's
yes,
millions of them, right? And you can sift through so much of this information, take one part of it to, confirm like a particular theory you have. Like, certain centrists have been jumping on the Russia thing, right? Oh, he's a Russian agent, right? Or certain people saying, oh, he's Mossad, or he's CIA, or there's Pizzagate. That's the other one, because I was listening to Tucker Carlson's podcast just earlier, and he was banging on about the whole pizza
because Jeffrey Epstein said something about getting pizza in DC.
Yeah, pizza sour grape, like, and it was like that's a euphemism or something like that. So it's kind of hard to kind of talk about the Epstein files like seriously, because so many of these emails are like shards that tell you a little bit of information that should be explored more, but there's no context to kind of put it in. And like, and certainly all these things, all these theories have plausible aspects to them. They're not like totally wrong, but it's very easy to sensationalize them. That's what I would say.
I think people like the idea that they get to be part of the intelligentsia that can piece together the information from what they decipher and put together a puzzle. There's there was a thing for a while, I guess it didn't make any money, that a lot of podcasters were pushing, and it was about true crime. And it was a game. I don't know if you remember it. And it was one of those games where you got a box with clues and you ultimately had to solve a case. And I guess every month or whatever, you got different clues to help solve the case, right? I'm sure people got tired of it because one of the things that we love more than facts is conjecture.
Yeah, we like a conspiracy theory than no theory.
Oh, man. Love it.
Yeah.
It feels good to wake up to. It's like a bump of Coke in the morning.
I mean, that's like political entertainment, really. Conspiracy theories.
Which is why I think a figure like Donald Trump against the shadow of an Epstein death is so satisfying to the American political appetite in the age of hyperpolitics. Like the way he denies is kind of like, again, it's like wrestling in a way.
Yeah.
Where you know how sometimes they walk out with the fake neck brace?
Yeah.
They carry him out in a stretcher, and then they come back with the neck brace, and they're not even pretending, they're turning their head and everything else. That's how it feels when they're like, well, your name appears in the Epstein files 475,000 times with a picture of your cock on it. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he just kind of moves on. It's like, of course, there's pictures of you dancing with the man before you were even president. Like, there's interviews of you talking about the man way before you were president. And to kind of go, Epstein Schmepstein, never heard of him. I guess I knew him. I don't know. I know a lot of people.
He's like, let's move on from it.
It's time to move. These aren't the droids you're looking for. And he's just, but because he does that in such a shitty used car salesman way, right? Like the bumper falls off the car and he just puts it back up. Like, what do you mean the bumper's falling off? It's nothing, just a little bit of paint, and we'll have this car is cherry. It's ready to go. That's how he treats his administration. But we kind of enjoy watching the show, which kind of leads me to my first question to you, which is at what point does media criticism stop functioning as accountability and start functioning as like free promotion?
Yeah. It's kind of ironic because the Epstein files seems, at least in America, seems to be very anticlimactic compared to the effect it's had, outside the United States, like especially here because of the recent scandal with Peter Mandelson, where he was shown to have leaked state secrets to Epstein directly for money, and shown to have had a really deep relationship with Epstein for years, even after his first conviction in 2008 for soliciting prostitution with a 14-year-old. And the way the media kind of works on this, like, it's not, it is like sensationalist. It's like, oh, it's a, they get to pretend to open the curtain to the backstage. Oh, this is how the power works. This is how the
Yeah.
elites, right? I saw a thing on a Substack which has Ross Douthat, Ben Dreyfus, and like Meghan McArdle, and the title of it said, "We're all in the Epstein files." And my reaction was like, "Well, speak for yourself," like,
Yeah,
because that's kind of like how I suppose capitalist politics works, and like, this kind of quid pro quo corruption between politicians, financiers, businessmen, journalists. Like, you have to cozy up to this person to get this exclusive and all that sort of thing. And yeah, I think the way, I suppose it's the media for the internet age, for the social media age. It's so there's no like substance behind it. It's not about like trying to. I mean, I suppose this is true in the mass media age as well. It's less about reporting what's going on, but telling a story, right? And the Epstein thing is a brilliant story. If you're in this thing, whatever theory you have, whatever angle you want to take on it.
Bill Gates getting
STI,
yeah. What do you call it? Penicillin for an STD. That's interesting to people, because I think most people don't think of Bill Gates as a guy that has intercourse. Like, you don't want to think about that. And the person that gets excited about hearing about Bill Gates getting an STD, I think, is a weirdo. Honestly, I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Did you hear Bill Gates? I don't want to hear anything about Bill Gates. Did he do another horrible thing in the country? Or you want to talk about his dick? That's weird.
Yeah.
If a guy like Trump's real power comes from remaining at the center of the conversation, even when that conversation is about incompetence or corruption, what, Ralph, do you think that says about the limitations of exposure politics as a strategy against authoritarian figures?
Well, with Trump, he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care because he's not a hypocrite. So he's not affected by you calling him a scumbag or revealing that he's sleazy, corrupt, or scandal ridden. It's like that's his thing. Like that's how that's part of his image. And actually that's kind of partially why he's popular with the people he's popular with, is because he's not a hypocrite, and he just says it how it is, and he's like proud of it. It's like, your condemnation doesn't affect me. In fact, you are the hypocrites, the fake news and crooked Joe Biden and blah blah blah. Like they're the hypocrites. Like, your words don't hurt me. Like and you get this kind of theater, like with, I don't know, CNN, like Caitlin Collins asking him about the Epstein files, and then he snaps back and like, oh, you're bad at your job. Why don't you go to the Democrats? Like, it's like this whole thing it's theater, it's political theater. And Trump's like at the center of it. He's the protagonist, and we're like the audience watching his story. And that's what it's been for the past 10 years. Watching, I'm even doing his hand gestures now.
That's how entrenched you are. But do you think there was a moment? See, this is where I break from that for 10 straight years. I think there's a moment after January 6th. I think COVID and January 6th is a moment where the spell is broken, because it can't get any worse than those two things, right? We're all wearing a mask, and we can't do the things we used to do. We're afraid that if we touch our grandparents, we're going to kill them. Our kids are stuck inside the house. it's a moment that really changes everything. It speeds up a lot of the negative aspects that were slowly moving with the decay in our society. It really sped it up. It showed a lot of people the failures of capitalism. You can actually kind of point to Trump and some of the other world leaders and say, your failures during COVID really exposed the failures of capitalism that most people ignored for their whole lives.
I mean, COVID provoked the largest upward transfer of wealth, I think, ever. So people like Jeff Bezos got even more wealthy than they already were. You know? And you're seeing I guess you could say you're seeing one effect of that with what Jeff Bezos just did with the Washington Post. Seen as a prestige journalistic institution in America, mainstream journalistic, and entire bureaus of it are being closed down. Foreign bureaus, like reporting on international news, just being closed down entirely. Not even being, oh, let's just downsize it a bit because we're not making enough money, and unfortunately some people have to be let go. It's like, no, we're just shutting it whole down.
But isn't this
section down?
Isn't this the complaint that people like yourself have been making for years about journalism and the consolidation when these billionaires buy newspapers, large and small? I mean, where I'm from in the U.S., we saw the death of a lot of smaller weeklies, which was really where you were getting really good journalism. That goes the way of the dodo. Billionaires own, I think, the majority of the major news outlets in the U.S. They also own a few where you're from as well.
Yeah, definitely.
They're global, right? They're multinational, and we had no problem with that consolidation because, again, I think COVID is one of those things that hyper sped up, and now it's making people aware, like, oh, I think monopoly is a bad thing, because if you look at who got bailed out and what got bailed out during COVID, and here we are only about 6 years after, and the public transportation system, the subway system, the tube, if you will, where I'm from, is hurting for money, and it looks like it may literally shut down certain stops because they're not getting the funding. And you think about the things that we're so quick to bail out, the industries were so quick to bail out, like the airline industry got to bail out real quick under COVID. But here we are with public transportation that millions of Californians depend on, just getting a good chunk of it getting shut down because of funding dollars. And a lot of that happened during COVID as well.
Yeah, and it's even, I guess it's similar-ish in the UK, though it's more like the cost of public transportation is going up, like with buses, trains, of course, trains, like the railway prices in England are, it's extortionate. Like, it is a shakedown. It's a shakedown. Like, just getting a train to London, like, it's far more expensive than it was previously. And it does seem like, society itself is like being unthreaded. Like what used to hold society together is now really, really being unthreaded, whether it's like in work, family life, social life. It's like this, it seems like, cyberpunk, the video game cyberpunk. It seems like that's like the future, not just the video game.
I think we're in it. I just think we're in it. When I see a lot of the stuff I see, to me seems dystopian. And I think we're in it. Has American politics, to you, become such compelling entertainment in your neck of the woods in the United Kingdom? Is it voyeurism? Is it a warning? Is it aspiration, or is it just distraction from your own domestic issues in the UK?
Well, I suppose it depends what faction you're in, and in a sense, like it's all of them at the same time, because there's a part of it which it is just like a distraction because we're not in it. And if we can, whenever Trump says something absolutely wild, there is that kind of, oh, Trump said something wild. Oh, how silly it is. Oh, how funny it is. you know, um, and and with the populist right in England, like Reform UK, they are obviously just taking cues from Trump. Like they are trying to kind of adapt aspects of Trumpism to the British context.
Mhm.
Like the AI, the post Layla Cunningham did, basically ripping off of Trump's Greenland thing with the penguins when there are no penguins on Greenland, and 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 that's the way that they're going. And of course, there's also liberals who kind of look at Trump and they become all horrific. What's called Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, she
Like,
loves.
yeah, and like Trump's inclusion with Russia, and they're gonna screw over our country, and or Elon Musk, like these big tech oligarchs are kind of, they want to destroy our BBC. Like that's what kind of liberals say here. So yeah, it's just, I suppose it's also just a consequence of the fact that America is still the preeminent capitalist power. We share a common language. We are part of the Anglosphere, or as
Yeah.
I say, the Anglo Umma, and so whatever comes out of America is just going to influence us here, for good, for ill, or the indifferent. We watch Hollywood films.
But would
that
you say, okay, I think there's a moment, a long time, post World War II, where America cultural production and soft power is paramount.
Yeah.
Everybody wants blue jeans. Everybody wants freedom. Being an American is being a badass. I don't think that holds anymore. I don't live in the United States, but I live in the shadow of the United States. And what I find fascinating about being around a lot of young people is that the US does not influence what they dig.
Yeah.
When I go to stores where teenagers go to,
Yeah.
or that are marketed towards tweens and teens, I see probably the same things that you see in the UK. I see K-pop,
Yes,
and J-pop,
yes, absolutely.
and native figures here that are quite popular that people don't realize are massively popular. Like let's say a Bad Bunny or a Peso Pluma or something like that. But yeah, there's people that know who Taylor Swift is, but to assume that Taylor Swift has captured a global imagination to the level of K-pop and J-pop, you are fooling yourself.
Yeah.
You are delusional. You are smoking the exceptionalism crack.
This isn't, I would say, this isn't like the 80s with Michael Jackson.
No.
Like, no. Because it's a different world. Because I even wrote about this in last DVD about, just at least contemplate, is this the withering away of Hollywood's unipolarity?
Oh, dude, look at black actors. If Ryan Coogler, who's from my hood, Richmond, California, didn't have a great working relationship with Michael B. Jordan, name me another black male actor in America that gets roles like black British actors. And there's reasons why black British actors are outperforming their American counterparts. A lot of it is schooling, practice, exposure, right? There's a reason why Australian actors do better than American actors, regardless of a skin hue. A lot, because there's a system in place of like soap operas that they can do, so they can learn how to hit marks and act and learn the drudgery of being on a set, so they're ready to go when they get to Hollywood. You don't have that in the States because everybody wants to, put a webcam in front of them not understand Marx and direction and everything else. I just think American cool is gone. Even when I think about things like R&B, which is very American. Some of the best R&B singers right now, they're all Ralph Leonard's, cousins.
Yeah. Yeah.
A bunch of beige kids from the UK.
Yeah. Or even full on pale skinned brothers.
Yeah. From the white side.
Yeah. Like Adele.
Yeah, and she's older. I mean, there's younger. What's the girl that just won a Grammy? Because I'm so messy. What is her name? I can't.
She was the one who gave a speech about her coming from family of immigrants, I think.
Is she from immigrants? I can't think of it. Lola, something. But I when I look for interesting music right now, I'm kind of like, okay, well, what's the UK dropping? from hip hop to R&B to kind of the trip hop jazzy stuff. A lot of that's coming from across the pond. The US is not where it's at anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and that's I suppose the politics as pro wrestling entertainment is like a substitute for that. I wouldn't say American cool, but a way of consuming America as entertainment, but not the actual entertainment. Because I suppose I'm only speculating, but I guess in the past, like 50 years ago, American politics would have been interpreted as like, "Ooh, this is serious business," because they're the superpower, like, so we kind of have to take them seriously. Whereas Trump, he's like a joke, right? I suppose you even saw this a little bit with W.
Yes.
Because W wasn't exactly the sharpest tool in the box.
And knew it. And he knew that's how he was viewed. Yeah.
Yeah, and he played to it. Like I always remember when I was a kid in the 2000s, I saw this bit of Bush at the golf course when he was giving this speech to the journalists, like, "We're gonna go after these terrorist killers," and then he said, "Now watch this drive."
I watched that clip recently. Someone posted that clip recently somewhere, and I watched it, and I cracked the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's interesting. Again, I don't know how you feel about this.
I know Obama was meant to bring back that kind of seriousness, like that sort of dignity to office.
He brings in professionalism. Obama kills a certain cultural malaise that is dominated by, Adam Sandler buffoonery and George Bush slapstick presidency. And we are obsessed with PMC professionalism at that point and technocratic solutions, right? The solution to public education during the Obama years is, well, if we just privatize it, then we can get the dumb kids out of here and just focus on what's important, which is the kids that really deserve it. So I do understand the importance of Obama professionalism for a lot of people and the failure of that project, because the failure of that project is the rise of Trump. Yes,
right. And they haven't kind of gotten the point. Well, they should have gotten the point at least when he was elected the second time. Well, certainly the first time. I was like, and then the second time, obviously we know the story that, they wheeled out Joe Biden. But at the first debate, they realized, oh shit, we're gonna lose, and then got rid of him, parachuted Kamala Harris.
I like that terminology, parachuted Kamala Harris.
Because it was a kind of, haphazard campaign that the Democrats had to do with Kamala Harris when they realized.
This is the part that people don't want to admit out loud, because everybody loves to be so indignant in their anger. towards Kamala Harris, and I am not a fan of the woman politically, but had she had a full year, there's a good chance she'd probably go to one.
Possibly.
The big issue that people always forget about Kamala Harris and that election was that she was dominating in the polls, had raised an record-breaking amounts of money by recycling Hillary Clinton's "I'm with her" thing, because people just hated Donald Trump at the time. We have to remember, people hated Donald Trump. He was still a pariah from COVID and January 6th, and no one was taking him seriously. Fox wasn't covering that much. Newsmax wasn't covering that much. What saved Trump's campaign was 2 assassination attempts.
Yeah, because after January 6th, I thought he's done. I thought the Democrats are going to throw the book at him. He's finished, right? But I obviously the whole lawfare thing kind of I don't know what happened with that, right? But I would have, but it is a brilliant. We were talking about telling a story. It is a brilliant story that Trump got a felony conviction and became president again, and he came back from all the shit he did. That is actually the most American thing, that somebody can get that many indictments and a felony conviction and he becomes president again.
Does that speak to this moment, or does that speak to the man, or does that speak to the man in the moment? Because I'm old enough to remember, rah! And then it's like, oh, fuck that guy. He screamed. Gary Hart. And this is all before you're born. Maybe you don't remember these figures, but Gary Hart was kind of doing quite well on the Democratic Party ticket in 88. And there was a sex scandal with him. And, he becomes a name no one remembers, unless you're old school, hardcore Politico. And scandal would derail your campaign. And when Trump was running, scandal, I thought his campaign was derailed when the audio had leaked of "Grab Him by the Pussy." That was one of those like, whoa, how do you come back from that? Again, I'm a kid that remembers scandal in politics, and that derailed campaigns. There was no way you could get out in front of it. And all he does is go, well, Bill Clinton fucking finger banged his share of women. Let me parade them all out in a fucking debate with Hillary. And it is the show that he puts on where you just make popcorn and you watch it. And when you talk about the Tommy Robinsons of the world, I've seen my fair share of British politics. And Tommy Robinson does not have the Trump thing because Trump doesn't come from a political sphere. He comes from an entertainment sphere. And because he understands entertainment, he's the consummate entertainer, right? He's the guy that walks around and shoves $100 bills in the doorman's pocket, and he's one of those characters, right? So on one hand, he can probably be more lovable than one would think in a room, and he's never seen a camera he doesn't dig. And when I see Tommy Robinson, I'm like, you just like being hated.
It's also a different culture as well.
Okay. Talk about it.
I think it, because he's very American, Donald Trump. He's a product of that, American pop culture, entertainment sphere, right? Because he was on The Apprentice. He's made appearances on WWE, because I remember his feud with Vince McMahon. The head shaving, and he's kind of that sphere. And when British people try to imitate that, it doesn't. You can't do the same thing like he did it.
Can you imagine Keir Starmer saying that he's just grabbing asses?
or even Nigel Farage, who gets called.
Can you imagine Nigel Farage just walking around talking about grass? I'd rather fancy packy ass. If I can't get my hands on some hot packy ass, I just don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
Yeah.
Make an AI video of that, somebody. Nigel Farage fantasizing over packy ass.
Yeah. So that's what is with Trump. You can't imitate him. He is a one of a kind in that sense.
Yeah.
So, and also that's why he's so, I guess, fascinating, like in this kind of morbid way. Because I remember when they did the Venezuela hit.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. And the pictures came out from the command center when they were doing it all. And it was so choreographed.
Yeah.
Right. With Trump looking like a mafia don with the, standing like a big man and sort of, he didn't have his tie on. So he looked like, he was like in a, he was like really into it, and pig headset pointing like as if it was giving directions.
So fucked up.
Right. And it's like this is, and the video, the White House Twitter account where it has Maduro saying, "Oh, come get me, you cowards," and then Mark Rubio saying, "Now you know," and then it has the next picture is them arresting Maduro, and it has Biggie's song in the background. And this is the theater of it all. This is the theater around foreign policy, around domestic policy. It's all choreographed theater in this kind of vulgar pop Jerry Springer like way.
Let's make an agreement, Ralph. We won't call it theater because I think theater gives it too much importance.
Okay, pantomime.
That sounds too important. It's a show. Let's just call it a show. Let's make it feel dirty, right? Yeah. Let's talk about this in a way that makes you feel gross. and I think we like to use certain words because we know people that read the publications that we publish in want to read those words. But let's bring it down to a level where I want you to feel like you need to take a bath if you read something about these people. And it's a show. It's a real cheap. It's hey, we found this kid that's got an arm growing out of his neck. Let's throw him on a stage and let people laugh at him and point and stare. And when he's sad, we'll just pump him full of dope at the end of the night. We don't give a shit as long as people pay us, a quarter to watch the arm neck kid. In the United States, in very odd parts of the country that I've been in, there are these zoos. I don't know if you guys ever saw a show called Tiger King. I don't know if that was popular where you were from in the United Kingdom, but there's these weird zoos all over. And on tour, there's these big signs on the side of the road, these big billboards. It's like, come see the largest, what is it called? Prairie dog. I didn't know what a prairie dog was. I'm from a city. I thought a prairie dog was like half wolf, half coyote or something. So I wanted to go see this prairie dog. I didn't know they're little bitty, like gerbil things. And then you go down the road a little bit more. This is in the place called Kansas. You go down the road a little bit more, and then you see a sign that says the largest python. So I'm like, I want to go see the largest python and prairie dog. We had this long drive. We were driving from somewhere stupid, like I think we were driving from Boise, Idaho to New Orleans. Google that trip if you guys would like to see how not smart of a drive that is. Thousands of miles. So the woman I was dating, who we were in a band together, agreed to humor me, and we were going to stop at this zoo because we never got to sightsee. So we go to the zoo, and it's like a backyard in a country house. It's not very big. And they were breeding animals for defects. Like, think about that for a second.
Wow.
That sounds really dark. And so she was laughing at me because she knew what a prairie dog was and wouldn't tell me because I'm over here fantasizing about what it's going to look like for this drive. And she's laughing the whole way. So we get there, and then there's just like rodents running all over the ground. She goes, "That's a goddamn prairie dog." And then there's like bobcats.
Yeah.
They captured, and again, like cows with appendages growing out of their necks. It's pretty fucking gross. And that's what politics looks like right now. It's really fucking gross. It's really disgusting. And you should feel dirty after you watch it and want to do something about it, because it shouldn't be this way. But instead, we're all paying to see the world's largest prairie dog and the defects, you know.
I mean, yeah, and it's like we're watching like a 10-year psychodrama, because that's what it is, psychodrama.
Yes.
Because the way Trump talks on Twitter, the social media game, like even from the outside, it doesn't give a good impression, to say the least, and that's obviously an understatement. It's like, wow, shit must be really mad over there if Trump is behaving in this way. And obviously, you know, Trump obviously has his kind of what he thinks is his own politics, or what he thinks he's doing, you know, to save America or something from the crooked Democrats, like, you know, with the whole tariffs. And, you know, what was even funny about Britain was with this Mandelson scandal was he was the ambassador to the United States. And everybody knew that Mandelson is a bit toxic. He's corrupt, sleazy, scandal-ridden, like Trump. It's like it's almost as if, oh, Trump is a sleazy, scandal-ridden, corrupt motherfucker. So let's get our own sleazy, scandal-ridden motherfucker to talk to Trump on his level, and so that he'll be extra nice to us. And you know what? In a kind of pragmatic, cynical sense, it kind of worked, because Britain didn't, in some of the tariffs that Trump did, Britain got slightly less tariffs than like other countries. It was, you know, well, of course, when the Epstein thing came out, obviously the Labour had to kind of get rid of him. And like now the question is, Starmer basically admitted that he knew about Mandelson's relationship to Epstein before he hired him as ambassador, and hired him anyway. You know?
Yeah. And that's kind of blown open. That's a big story in the UK. Has that taken up most of the oxygen right now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is why it's fascinating that in the United States it's a little bit anticlimactic, because a lot of the things that there was speculation before the files came out are like, oh, we're gonna see the truth. It's gonna be conclusive about Trump, Bill Clinton, this, that, and the other. And it seems like it's like just create more speculation. It's like become more inconclusive, at least with Trump, because you have like these like tips about Trump did this really graphic sexual act, and then he's mentioned in other papers, but like it's like none of it is like really conclusive or corroborated. That, you know, it seems like there's more questions that's come up rather than providing a kind of answer that's neatly tied up into a bow. That's what people expected from the Epstein files. And this is why this Jeffrey Epstein thing, we're going to be talking about it for decades, like JFK, right? And we're going to find more theories, more speculation.
Jeffrey
Right.
Epstein almost feels like flat Earth to me. In that,
Yeah.
Okay, then what? Like that's how
Yeah.
I kind of like. Okay, the Earth's flat. Now what? Jeffrey
Yeah.
Epstein was a weird concierge and had very unsavory. Is not a good word.
Horrific. Yeah.
Horrific is a better word. Horrific sex parties
Yeah.
with young women. As horrible as that is, if you're really outraged by it, go to any major metropolitan area, go to any, I don't know, roadside motel, and you can find the same thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
If you really are outraged by it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you outraged by it, or is there a spectacle about it that's drawing you in? Because those two things to me are mutually exclusive.
Yeah, there's like a perverse curiosity or fascination with, you know, the machinations of the elite, what the depraved elites are getting up to. And because like we're like outside of it, there's a way we can like view it and like and be, you know, kind of like watching a horror film. You're not in it, you're not going to influence it, but you can of course like have your opinions about it from afar, or like feel like disgusted, horrified, scared, terrified that this is the world that we live in. But it's not like people feel like, oh, I'm gonna be motivated to change it, to transform society so that the likes of Jeffrey Epstein and his associates aren't ruling the roost, right? So there's always, so this kind of perverse like spectacle or perverse fascination is like joined to powerlessness, political paralysis, because the question is, what are we going to do about it? If this is the reality, if we are run by globally connected pedophile elites, the next question is, what you're going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about the pedophiles that are on the streets?
Yeah.
No, like, that are doing the same thing
Yeah.
to young girls on the streets in which you live in. That you just kind of ignore and go, those are just wayward girls. Like, those weren't magical young women that he was finding.
Yeah,
they were the same like, poor girls.
Yeah, just like, you know, Virginia Giuffre. She was a poor woman, came from a broken family. It's like that's like that's the prey people like Jeffrey Epstein or pedophiles or sexual traffickers look for. Literally, they literally look for people like young girls who are vulnerable and easily exploitable and have a reason to be charmed by people like him. So it's like, oh, I can give you this, I can give you that. And then you know, this is the grooming process of behind. And you know, happens on all levels, happens on all levels of society.
Yep.
To the I suppose the grubby like people trafficking rings that you see like in the town, you know that, you know, happens a lot. And with the Jeffrey Epstein thing, there's also the aspect of it that's like, oh, who really was he? Where did he get his money from? Right? Because he's meant to be some hedge fund trader, but we don't have any records of where he got that money from. And then there's the, you know, because this is why when I first encountered it, there was a part of me that said, this guy's a bit of a construct, right? There's something like a mirage, but not that he didn't exist. Of course he did, but the image he was portraying, like he gave off this image of like he's a Gatsby type character.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, there was the whole was it Vanity Fair piece about him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that he threatened the journalist of at the time, I think.
He did.
War.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
With the lawsuit,
Yeah,
because she was actually calling him
yeah,
out on some of the inaccuracies of his story. Yeah.
yeah, and because of his girlfriend was Ghislaine Maxwell, who's the daughter of Robert Maxwell. And if you know Robert Maxwell's story, he's a very shady, dodgy figure who was involved with all these arms traffickers, intelligence operatives in CIA, Israel, you know what I mean? So, and Jeffrey Epstein, I think was quite fair to say that he was in the 80s involved with arms traffickers like Adnan Khashoggi and Douglas Leith and the whole Iran-Contra thing. You know, so it's like add 2 and 2 together. There's a lot of murky thing. That's, Jeffrey Epstein is like a mix of a con man and a money launderer. And then he tried to project this like image of himself as this big shot who's connected on all levels of society. That's why there's multiple layers to it. There's obviously the intellectuals he was trying to be connected with. That's where Chomsky gets brought into it, and Lawrence Krauss, Steven Pinker, the scientists at MIT, because he wanted to be like all things to all people and like connected billionaires. And then there's
I'm
the
sure
really,
it's got to make someone feel smart when you have an in with Noam Chomsky, right?
Yeah,
you can throw that around at your parties. Well, when I was talking to Noam, he told me the other day in an email, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate name dropper.
Yeah, that's the thing, name dropper. Like he was trafficking on that. Oh, I know this person. I know that person. I can get you connected to this person, and we can make a deal.
There's guys like that in every community. I'm sure at the barbershop that you don't go to. There's a person in there right now. I don't care if you're in the UK or in, Gary, Indiana. There's a person right now that's the guy that's going to connect you with the guy that's going to connect you with the guy that's going to connect you with an informant. Yeah. You're going to get in trouble for trying to kill your spouse. Yeah. But that's how people find their drug hookups. That's how people buy things wholesale that they're not supposed to get wholesale. That's how, that it's everything from that's how you get your car fixed, from that's how you find an in on cheap hookers, right? Like he kind of was that character. And I think when we watch movies, we see bad guys as one thing, right?
Yeah.
I was a heroin addict. So you just assume that all they did was heroin. Like someone gave him cocaine, like, no, not for me. Heroin only. Like people don't even know what drug addiction really looks like. People don't know what drug dealing really looks like. Most drug dealers are just people trying to support their own habits. Yeah. And if you get to a certain point where you have a handful of people working underneath you, then you're a big player. But in the grand scheme of things, you're probably not that big of a player. You don't have political clout. Mm-hmm. You just may have 5 or 6 people working for you. Maybe you've purchased a property where you can sell and maybe mix drugs out of. So I think Hollywood informs most people on what criminal life looks like. Mm-hmm. So a character like Jeffrey Epstein has to be extremely confusing because people just aren't enmeshed in the criminal world, where criminals do a lot of different shit. You sell drugs, you pimp, you launder money, you extort money, right? You've maybe performed a few hits here and there. If you think a hitman is a guy you call with a suitcase with weapons and poisons in it, and they went to hitman college and they have like the hitman college degree on the wall, no, it's usually a junkie that'll do something horrible for a little bit of money.
Yeah.
So if Jeffrey Epstein is hard for you to wrap your mind around, that means that there's a part of the world that you've assumed exists in a certain way. And it just doesn't exist in that way. The underworld is a murky place where illegal economies, people do a lot of different things. You can pimp and sell drugs. It may not be good for the hoes, but it could be good for your bottom line. That's a reality, right? And to me, Jeffrey Epstein is like every other hood dude I grew up around in that regard.
Yeah. And one thing that confirmed that he's a construct or that sort of thing is the interview he did with Steve Bannon. Because when I listened to it, I thought, now this guy's a bit of a moron. Like, like this is meant to be the evil mastermind we've been talking about for the last 7 years. And he has the, he talks in this dorkish, stereotypical Brooklyn accent. And it's like, it's like, wow, that's what he talks like. And
yeah,
and it's like, evil's not what you think it looks like. You know what I mean?
It isn't, because again, I don't know how many pimps the average person has hung around, and I don't say this with any sort of like joy or like I'm a fucking lumpen expert. It's just the world I'm from, right? And when you hear them tell stories of their past, and the people I know have retired from the game, thank God, they're frightening stories about like almost paying for young girls in small towns.
Yeah.
Like when I say paying for, like kind of going to the family and be like, oh, I'm going to take your daughter to California and she's going to be a star because I'm connected with blah, blah, and blah. And, they go from Spokane, Washington to Oakland, California to the host role. And that's your stardom and probably a life of drug addiction and woe. And these people do it in a very Epstein-like way, right? Like, I have a way out of the drudgery of small town life. You're going to work at best, you're going to work at the Hooters.
Yeah.
Where you're going to get groped for, $50, maybe $100 on a good night. Or, you can look pretty and get groped for way more money and prestige. And you don't have to worry about punching a clock.
Yeah.
You're going to make your own hours. And then none of it's true, right? You find out that the grass wasn't green. It's a cell. You went from the precarity of everyday life to the graphic horrors of forced sex work.
Yeah, sexual exploitation.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever encountered the name Jeffrey Epstein was actually when I was a teenager, when I was 15, because there was this magazine in Britain called Private Eye that reported on, Prince Andrew.
Yeah. Those pictures were. Yeah. Oh shit.
And they reported a thing on, because Prince Andrew has always had a reputation of being a bit grotesque, doing like grotesqueries, and those had a cover picture of, his ex-wife scrounged the loan from Epstein, and they did a cover story that had the family, Andrew, the wife, and the 2 daughters, and it said, Jeffrey Epstein's going to give us 15,000. And the wife, there's a speech bubble from the wife that says, "Was that for one of our daughters or both of our daughters?"
Damn.
It was a satirical magazine. This was in 2011.
Yeah.
2011, right? And it's because it's almost like, this guy's a bit dodgy from back then, 2011. And I'd obviously forgot about Epstein's name until like the 2019, 2018, when it became really, really a big thing where everybody knew who he was. So it was always I suppose looking back on it was always fascinating that there was always like, it was simmering under the surface. There was something kind of very, very shady going on.
Did it remind you of And I know you're younger, but when you're coming up, is Jimmy Savile, had he been disgraced yet? When does that happen?
2012.
So you're what, in high school,
16.
junior
Yeah, I
high?
was 16.
So
I was
you're in high
16.
school.
Yeah.
But was he a big, by the time you're coming up, did you even give a shit who Jimmy Savile was?
No, I didn't know who it was. He was an 80s, 70s, 80s person.
Got it. But you knew who he was.
Yeah, I knew who he was.
He's an iconic figure.
Yeah.
Some people have been sounding the alarm on him for a while. I mean, there's a great clip of John Lydon,
Yes.
I think when he was in Pill, doing an interview calling out Jimmy Savile years before the story was broken. I believe the BBC didn't play the interview where he calls out Jimmy Savile. There is something to me that's hideous, where poor people are always going to be the fodder, right? You're always going to be exploited for something. And as we're talking about kind of this exploitation happens every day, when you see rich people do it in this way where it looks like the movie Society, kind of the shunting is going on at these Jeffrey Epstein parties, I think, again, that is easier for people to wrap their minds around than the constant everyday exploitation that happens on the streets. And that always, again, I don't know if it frustrates you the same way.
Yeah, because I think the word, I don't want to use to say glamorize them, because I don't think people are glamorizing it, but there's a way we interpret what the elite do.
Yeah.
The private jets, the parties, the private island, the Gatsby-like mystery and lifestyle. That, again, it's like it's a very kind of Hollywood portrayal. Well, that's certainly what Epstein was doing. The way he was living is like, it was a kind of very Hollywood turned real life kind of way of being, like a rich, wealthy billionaire. But again, like I said, all these sort of aspects of it, that's kind of why people get fascinated by this stuff. It's like, oh, it's something that I'm not a part of, but I want to watch this story. I want to consume this story. Again, it's like, kind of how we consume true crime.
That's the way it feels. It feels like it becomes this true crime thing mixed with what you're saying, this idea of what we think happens in elite circles. And it feels like we think elite circles are just pretty people orgies.
Yeah.
Right? You want to assume Johnny Depp's there with all these models and doing cocaine off everybody's butt crack. And now you find out that it's quite the opposite. It's old fucking gajillionaires, again, having the shunting with young girls from podunk towns in the hinterlands of America.
Yeah.
And there's nothing glamorous about that. I think it's just really, it should be ugly.
Yeah, it's sleazy. Like, that's the word. It's like having a bucket of slime thrown all over you. It's like, no, that's not good. That's not...
This wasn't the glam. This wasn't the eyes wide shut party that I thought I was getting a glimpse into.
Yeah.
No, man, that's a fucking movie, dude. Go to a swingers party for real. It's gonna be some weird shit. More people are gonna look like Danny DeVito than fucking than hot. So
yeah, but one thing that was, I suppose, interesting from the files, it's clearly the more, the kind of open, like, real corruption, like political and financial corruption that was occurring between these people. Like, like I said, this is like how corruption in, like, Western capitalist, ostensibly liberal countries kind of works. Is this, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Jeffrey Epstein and Larry Summers, conveniently he donates some millions of dollars to Harvard. where Larry Summers was president of.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works. It is a network thing. It's like that's kind of how these elites kind of make stuff happen.
We have a super chat here from Ken. He says the problem with kayfabe of Trump is the professional wrestler. He's not the Vince McMahon. He's not the power. He's the tool. How do we destroy the weapon behind the heel?
Mm-hmm.
What say you, Ralph?
Well, good question. And I would say that the weapon, I guess, behind Trump, or if you will, capitalist politics, if that's what we want to say, is clearly that it's about changing society. Like it's not Trump that's evil per se, even though we say like people like him or Epstein are evil in kind of a individual moral sense, but it's, for lack of a better word, the system that's evil. It's it's the contradictions in society that barbarize society. That's like the problem, right? That's the root cause of the problem. That's the foundation of it. And all these things that we're talking about are consequences of it. And the challenge is to change the foundations, right? And that's where I think you have to form a new movement, a new social movement. Because obviously I'm obviously in a more classically Marxist sense. I would say, a kind of reconstituted socialist politics, right? That is organized within society itself to have as its North Star achieve political power in the core of capitalism. That's if you will the point.
I mean, I think what you see, New York to me is where I look to. I think you have kind of the capitalist core of the United States elected Democratic Socialist mayor who walked into office and was like, I'm getting things done. And I'm continuing to build coalitions to get things done. Like, let's continue to grow out the DSA. Let's continue to grow out these kind of community and socialist organizations so we can have political power within the city, within the state. To get some of these even more liberal of my platform done, and force the hand of careerist Democrats and anyone of the right that's left over in Albany. That to me is hope. And I think hope is starting there, because you're seeing people kind of rally around these ideas of working together, and they're seeing what happens when you work together. And that you have to look for somewhere for hope, right? And it's not in figures. It's in looking at how people are reacting, right?
Yeah. It's like it's in society, forces within society. And obviously, I'm more not to, because I don't like when people do this whole, I'm more revolutionary than thou sort of thing. Like, but my personal politics is like more quote unquote revolutionary than Mr. Mamdani, right? Not that I have any particular beef with him, but or that thing, but it's more like that, because I think we are in a pre-political moment, right? Because that's where, and this kind of organizing that I think we would have to do would be pre-political. It's like it would, because it was like it would be no different to like what liberals do within civil society, but then it would have to change in such a way that it would become a more concrete political movement that has this very strong social base within it. That's why I think, not because this is where I would kind of disagree, I suppose, with some quote unquote reformists that about trying to, seize the Labour Party in Britain for example, oh, we're gonna seize the Labour Party, and then that's the vehicle we're gonna use it for socialism. And I think that's mistaken, because that's kind of, you're participating in capitalist politics, not offering an alternative, right? Because my position is, like, we're doing something else. We are the third way. We are the real third way. We are neither Tories nor Labour, but something else. And our point is to seize power to eventually abolish the state as wholesale. But
So
obviously,
do you see?
yeah.
Go ahead. What are you saying?
No, I was just going to say, but I acknowledge that we are starting from ground zero, and what I'm saying seems like it's the North Star. It's like absolutely, because I do understand why people would latch on to Mamdani, because it's like concrete. It's like seems something. It's like more realistic, right? It's and he actually, he is a openly democratic socialist who is elected in New York. Like, he is one of the big victories of the millennial left, because he is a millennial himself. And the Bernie, especially post Bernie, because the Bernie Sanders moment ultimately failed twice.
Yeah.
And Mamdani is the successful one, because he actually has power in a city.
Can we agree that it failed a political victory, but it succeeded in making words like socialism and communism positive?
Yeah.
For the first time in maybe 40, 50 years.
It got people thinking about it. It got people thinking about socialism, like, especially because
seriously thinking about it.
Yeah, seriously thinking about it, because America, contrary to national stereotypes, does have a socialist tradition, right? It does have a long socialist tradition, like Eugene Debs, American Socialist Party, the greatest. It was the high point of socialism in America, Eugene Debs. And Bernie Sanders seemed to have been like the highest point since Eugene Debs, right? And
easily,
right? Because we are talking from a low bar, I guess, And
look, before Bernie Sanders, I hate people say it starts with Occupy. It's like, no. No, Obama was still a socialist during that moment. Like, no, it really starts with Bernie Sanders. It really blows the lid off of the socialist Obama. You can't even say those words anymore. By the time Bernie starts running and is serious. And this is kind of goes into the next question I have about U.S. identity politics, because I think one of the things that derails the socialist movement is an entrenchment in bourgeois identity politics coming out of the university. There's like a British fixation you talk about on ICE and U.S. policing. Do you see that as a genuine solidarity? Is it culture war cosplay, or a way to avoid confronting Britain's own histories of state violence, policing, and even racial hierarchy?
Yeah, I think it's the latter two.
Okay.
I think because obviously for some people it is a genuine sense of solidarity because they hate Trump. They don't like seeing oppressed people like dying in the United States. And there's a kind of sort of thing like, oh, screw Trump, support the Minnesotans, that sort of thing. There's that. But there is a kind of, I always do kind of worry because it does seem like when people talk about it in this way, that they think that they're actually participants in the struggle itself in America. Like they're actual participants, not like audience trying to, expound an opinion. And they think that what they're doing is kind of participating in it. And yeah, it does have the kind of unfortunate effect of people forgetting well, we have our own kind of particular history with race and policing and police brutality, right? And I'll give an example where it's an example, unfortunately, that the right wing kind of love to use, was when during the BLM protest in 2020, you had BLM UK, and they were doing the hands up, don't shoot thing, and the right wingers were saying, "Oh, they're saying that to police officers in Britain who don't carry guns." Yeah.
They mean don't shoot me with that nightstick. That's what they
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. How does that make you feel as a person that's grown up? It's like, wait a minute, why are you saying hands up, don't shoot? That doesn't make any sense. Like, were you yelling that out?
I was like, yeah, you need to come up with a better slogan than that. You come up with something better than that. or even like the academics. I mean, the academics are the kind of the worst offenders of this, who start using terms like BIPOC.
Got it.
In a British context.
What does an indigenous British person look like? A Quaker Oats man? What is
or some Anglo-Saxon warrior from the 7th century. Yeah. But even the Anglo-Saxon warrior was an immigrant from what was the Germanic tribes. But okay.
Yes. So do white people walk around just saying I'm BIPOC? I'm BIPOC Londoner?
No.
BIPOC from Wales.
Or academics using affirmative style arguments in Scotland to improve representation of academics in universities in Scotland, in a country that's 96% white. And well, they were saying that 0.5% of academics are black, but there's 0.5 black people in Scotland. You know what I mean? It's like
Were we talking about it a little while ago, about that phenomenon that took over the UK where Black Americans found out there were Black Scottish people that had accents?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm definitely one of those Black Americans that went to Scotland and met a Black Scottish person in Aberdeen.
With the full Scottish accent.
Full Aberdeen accent, groundskeeper Willie blew my fucking mind. I just stared at that man. I think he thought I had the tism or something. He just was like, "What is wrong with you?" Because I was just like, "You're an old Black man. You're supposed to talk like..."
Yeah, because in Britain, the stereotypical like Black British person is like the roadman who talks with the MLE accent. You know?
Can you do that for me, because that's my favorite thing?
Oh,
no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, no, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
Don't do it.
I'm not gonna talk like someone from Top Boy, but you know.
Yeah. Whenever I hear that shit, I get hella fired up.
Like using terms like blood, fam. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Do you? This is definitely a side thing. As a Black British man that, probably has grown up with these people that legitimately talk a certain way, when you hear that fake Toronto accent thing that just started like 4 years ago, does that get under your fucking finger? Like, you motherfucker. Do you get mad when you hear that shit?
I can't listen to it. When the Toronto, what it's called, Toronto multicultural English, or something. Like when Canadians want to start talking like roadmen, and because the words they use are similar to what we use in England, when those words get uttered in a Canadian accent, I just can't listen to it. It's like, no, I can't take this seriously. Like this is ridiculous. Like, nah, I can't. I actually can't take it seriously.
It's, I don't even have words to describe what I think it sounds like without sounding like the most evil man in the world. But I refuse to believe that it is. It doesn't sound natural. Like I know there's Jamaica. I know there's tons of Jamaicans in Toronto. I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
But come on.
It sounds synthetic.
Look, the first wave of Degrassi Junior High did not have any of them mandems. What's it on the boot? That shit was not happening on the first or second wave of Degrassi. And all of a sudden you're gonna tell me, no, this is just the way we talk, fam. If you don't get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah. But yeah, because that's the stereotype. But there are black people talking a Mancunian accent, Brummie accent, Nottingham accent, you know, a Scouse accent, Liverpool, Kawasaki, if you're Geordie, Kawasaki.
Well, first of all, I love regional accents.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love them because I think I have one. I'm told I have one, and I don't want to lose it. I take it with me everywhere I go. It's like fucking luggage.
My one, I've got a very standard Southern English accent. It's not very obviously it's distinctive, but it's not recognized as distinctive because if you have a Geordie accent, that's distinctive. Like everybody knows you're Geordie, and it's one of the ironies of England that even though we speak the same language, there are parts of the country I can go to and barely make out what they're saying. Like if I go to the West Country, rural West Country, and I hear them speak, I can barely understand what they're saying.
Have you ever been to Middlesbrough?
Yeah, Middlesbrough.
I can't understand. Like, whoa. I'm going to need you to put the subtitles on when you talk to me. Kushlik says, Ashley Frawley says, again. In all fairness, poor Ashley, I believe she grew up, I forget what province she grew up in Canada. I think she's from the interior. And which is its own thing, right? Like what you're talking about. We're like, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah.
And you know, she married that Greek man and then did some schooling in the UK. So she sounds like a person that has been around a lot of different accents. So you just get a kind of mix of garbledy-gook. That to me, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, England very notorious for multiple accents, even though we speak the same language.
Someone says, I love Toronto. Look, you can love Toronto all you want. Put gravy on your French fries till no end. But just go ahead and Google Toronto accent if you don't know what we're talking about. And then you'll be like, oh, I don't love that part of Toronto. You can't. You cannot. What are you working on next, Ralph?
Next bit is writing a review of No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook.
It's a movie or a book?
Movie. Recently come out.
No Other Choice?
Yeah, No Other Choice.
Someone says poutine is from Quebec. Poutine is all over that fucking country. Okay? All over that fucking country. Give a fuck who decided to put that nasty ass canned gravy on French fries and then top it with cheese curds. It's gross. It's gross. Do better with your gravy. I don't know. Canada, Quebec. I haven't had good gravy in Canada, and I've been from Vancouver to Moose Jaw to Medicine Hat. So is this movie out in theaters?
Yes. And it's touches on like AI taking people's jobs, you know, and point, I think it expresses a kind of very petty bourgeois critique of capitalism. Like, it's a kind of, the honest petty bourgeois who's going to have his job taken by AI, and he feels that he has to, take matters into his own hands
Mm-hmm.
to eliminate the competition. So there's that kind of really dehumanizing aspect of, capitalism, that competition has this very destructive kind of quality to it, because it's more and more workers competing for less and less jobs. And obviously there's an anxiety among like managerial types because AI is coming for them. Because obviously the working class, they were deindustrialized decades ago. Like,
And when is this coming out?
next week.
Oh, okay, damn. Well, definitely let me know when it's out, because we need to talk more about movies. We haven't talked about movies in a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm writing a review on a movie right now that maybe you've seen. You ever seen Killer of Sheep?
No.
Have you heard of it?
No, I've not. No.
All right, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'll send it to you in the private chat. I think you'll dig it. It's from 1977. But wherever you guys are watching or listening, there's a link in the description to Ralph's article. What was it called again?
Oh, the article is
You wrote so many you don't remember.
It's something about why is UK importing American politics.
It doesn't matter. There's a link right there anyway.
Yeah.
It says read Ralph's article here. So thank you, Ralph. And I'll see the rest of you guys next week. And we are out.